Good evening, Nato and Natin, ladies and gentlemen, friends and all our contacts. On behalf of Persatuan Brahma Kumari Malaysia, we extend our heartfelt and warmest welcome to everyone who are joining this online talk. From the short video clip just now, we saw the introduction of the Persatuan Brahma Kumari Malaysia, and we know that it established in the year of 1981 with our HQ and Asia Retreat and the Asia Retreat Center located in Dengkiu, together with 21 registered centers located all over major cities in Malaysia. We continue to extend humanity services to the community. We provide all courses free of cost, and this is provided to all walks of life. With this, it is my great honor to introduce our guest speaker tonight, Mr. Peru Maru Kandan. Mr. Peru currently is the treasurer and a member of National Board of Brahma Kumaris Malaysia. He is our senior and the experienced teacher of Raja Yoga meditation, which is more than 35 years. Currently, he is actively coordinating and provides services, spiritual services on all social activity to the community, not only near Kuala Lumpur and also for Petaling Jaya Center. Of course, the courses that he conducted, including motivation courses, positive thinking, and the outstanding one of it, which I would like to share with all of you, is he called himself specialized as the chain agent with one of the Malaysia anti-drug agency, and that is the activity that we carry out in the Malaysia. And he himself, of course, have traveled frequently to India for what? To further improve the art of meditation and the inner value. He himself specialized in management, holding the master degree in management, a postgraduate diploma in guidance and counseling, and a certificate in company administration. And we know that today's science and technology is all in their advanced stage. And Mr. Peru is not only interested in meditation, his great interest is in human science and organization behavior, focusing on positive psychology and leadership. And he have received the award, that is the best award for one of his study during his service with the public sector. And that award received in Kuching, Sarawak. That is related to the public sector organization conferred as the best paper award in the International Conference on Business and Economy Research in Kuching, Sarawak in the year of 2010. And we know that Mr. Peru, even though he was a government servant who dealing with contractual matter and project management with the Ministry of Housing and Local Government in Putrajaya. And recently he has retired. Even though he is retired, but he is active and providing services to all the mankind. He believed that mankind actually is in dire need for a better world, and together we can create a better future. With this, let us extend our warmest welcome to our guest speaker, Mr. Peru Marukandan, to share with us tonight on this talk. The evening talk is the topic is spiritual practices for challenging time in life. With this, I hand over this virtual mic to our guest speaker, Mr. Peru Marukandan. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Peru.
Thank you, Cindy Lim. Thank you very much for that generous introduction of myself. It's overwhelming, in fact. So I have to live up to the expectations. And I'm given a short span of time to cover quite a bit. And we delve straight into the topic itself. The topic tonight is spiritual practices for challenging times in life. No? So, as you know, this is a relevant topic at this point of time. And what I would like to cover tonight is the following things. Next slide, sister. Can you go to the next slide? Okay, thank you. So for tonight, I thought that I'll just cover what's the challenging time which we are going through at this moment, at this point of time, and followed by why spiritual approaches, and followed by the spiritual approaches itself, which we find it relevant to us today. And of course, after that, the next item is where do I start? No? Where do I start? So we'll delve over it for some time, where to start, and followed by how to sustain our journey through. And we end up with a little bit of contemplations to wrap up today's sessions. Now, what's the challenging time which we are going through now? It is rather very relative things when you talk about a challenging time. For simple reasons, there is always a gap between where you are and what is the expectations. The current expectation is very high now, and perhaps we are lacking behind on certain things, and there is a gap, and that gap is what we are going to close to live up to the challenging time which we are facing now. But mind you, it varies with people. To some the gap is small, to some the gap is bigger. It all depends on them individually, how they perceive the challenging time now, whatever background they come out with, and also whatever they learn along the way to cope with a changing time. But if you take mankind overall, we have been facing this all the way through. Back then in the 40s, in the 30s, in the 20s, World War I, World War II, there is always challenges. Of course, we are now going through a very big challenge in us, which is also nothing new if we take the human history into account. There are many flus which came and many thousands, millions died. And now we are at our time, we are facing another virus, which is, of course, which can be killed very easily with sanitizer and also soap, but we haven't found a vaccine. And so it's creating a havoc in our life. And because of this current time, because of the pandemic, actually, there are many things happening in our life, which is becoming a little overwhelming, a little too much for us to cope with. So that's the situation we are in now. We feel that we are not prepared. Nobody started off this year, 2020, with that sort of feeling that a virus will come and disturb us. But as we move along this year, from January onward, it has shaped our life. It has brought us to a new norm. it has changed many things, and of course it has become a very, very challenging situation we are facing now. So that's the thing which we are facing now, and that's the thing which we have to cope with. See? So why spiritual approach? Basically, the analogy here is I use an iceberg because it's easier to visualize. No? Now, the iceberg, if you really were to look at it, you see the visible part of it and the major portion which is submerged, which cannot be seen. Is easily can say 10% to 90%, almost, it's like that. So you just can't judge the size of the iceberg on the basis of just physical looking at it. And that's how the Titanic was sunk, and many others have gone through such complications. No? So looking at it, we can see that the tangible part or the visible part of it is the structures itself, which we are used to it. We have used to system, we are used to routine, and now the routine has changed a little bit because of the pandemic. We are used to all those things which we book knowledge, which have been studying all this while. And on the basis of that, we have been planning quite well, and we have been successful, no doubt about that. No? But if you really were to see, whatever it is, no, which we have, technology based or science based, and the modernization we call it, and comfort we call it, but a major portion of us is you itself as a human being. It's not the technology, it is you as a human being. And when you look at yourself as a human being, it's more or less like, what's your feelings? What is your attitude? What is your belief system? What's the value you're carrying? What's the fear you're facing now? And what's the willpower you have now? Now, let me tell you, you spend a sizable number of your time dwelling over those areas compared to those which are very tangible, which is only about 10% only. So you are very much dead. And those submerged portion, which is you, which you have to face every day, your conscience, the way you go about your happiness, your sorrow, that is something which is need to be looked at. And I think this is where we can position our spiritual approaches. So this is a rationale behind why spiritual approaches for this challenging time, because it's a major portion of you, and that part have to be handled in whatever directions the planning goes. But the real direction you will follow is how you perceive it and how you move it. So your life is very much based on that 90%, and that 90% is, if moved in the right directions, you will reach your destinations. You will find happiness, you will find enlightenment. So it is worth it to spend some time on all these areas. Okay, so that is the positioning why spiritual approaches, and which is very, very much internal, you and your conscience. Next slide. Okay, along the way, especially at this time when a new norm have come in and we are living that, a change is the need of the time, and we are expected to change. And then whatever we planned in the beginning of the year, perhaps we planned it very nicely, A, B, C, the milestones are there, but perhaps it looks like to achieve that is difficult now because there's a lot of obstacles have come along the way. Of course, one of them is a pandemic, we call it, but there are so many other obstacles also which comes, and I cannot visibly see which direction I'm going now. Sometimes become confused, and that's one of the reasons why sometimes we go into a lot of negativities and the stress might come in. Now, what spiritual approach tells us is that you have to step back. You have to step back and go higher. So basically it means you must be light to go there. When you say light, I mean your stage is very important. Your mind is important. Your rationalizing, your intellect is very important. If that part is shifted towards positivity, probably you are in a better positions, as though you are elevating yourself to be able to see your vision clearly. So right now the barrier in front, and if you are grounded, you find it a very difficult obstacle in front of you, and sometimes it's too big, too mammoth a situation that you find that you feel like giving up. But there is an alternative. But if you change the internal side of it, you can elevate yourself higher to be able to see clearly in which direction I should move in the coming years too. Next slide, sister. Right. These are some of the typical barriers. These are examples, but then you might have your own peculiar barriers for you. One of them is on the self itself. No? Maybe I'm worrying too much, which clouds my mind. So I cannot be light to elevate myself. So I'm worrying too much and too little sleep sometimes. No? So there's many reasons. And let me tell you, if your sleep is not managed well, it's going to cause a lot of trouble to you. And perhaps at this point of time when things are bad for you, you even lost faith in God. Possibilities are there, no? All this way you're okay, but now you're being tested, you see. And so the root cause of all these things is that you lack a little bit of respect for the self. You forgot who you are. You have lost your own confidence. You are losing a grip on yourself. So this is a little dangerous, no? Whereby self-respect is very, very essential in our life, but sometimes life is pushing in so many ways that it is very difficult to hold on to your self-respect. This is one of the typical barriers. In a working environment, probably I'm trapped by the work which I don't like to do. And perhaps my boss is there and I don't respect him, but I want to work because I need money. So it is a little bit of a tug of war here. And if you really were to look deeper into it, perhaps it is my attachment to the job. Perhaps I'm setting condition to my job. You should be happy that you have a job, but now I'm setting conditions the way I want it. And that if that condition is not fulfilled, and that's where the stress comes in. So that can be a barrier also. In the family circle sometimes, because we spend more time in the house now, perhaps we have difficulty in relationship. It may be wife, no? Or maybe the kids, they are becoming too much for me because I'm used to be in office, but now at home, and I have to face them. No? It's not easy to manage them. So there will be continuous argument or hostile feelings, and all this, the communication problem will come in. You have to check. There might be a subtle aspect for that. That might be your own ego, no? So you see, can you see now the spiritual component is coming in always. And if you move to other commitments, perhaps you have used to be an active person, too many commitments to committees and community organization, perhaps you are just about everywhere. Perhaps that's the way I sustain myself. I find that when people praise me, I feel good. But in reality, if the thing is becoming too stressful for you, it is also an indication that you are into too many things, which also tells us a story that there might be a lack of focus in us. So this is another area coming back to spiritual approach again. So those barriers have to be handled also in our life. Next, Uma. Okay. The spiritual approaches itself, no? So I've already given you a scenario of what we are going through and why the spiritual approach. The spiritual approach which I'm going to sell it to you for tonight is, first, know yourself as a spiritual entity. First, know yourself as a spiritual entity having a human experience and not the other way around. When you say the human experience, because we have the senses, you see, so we go about fulfilling the senses. But as a spiritual entity, experiencing human existence in that way, but it's not the other way around. No? So we must be very clear here. What's the meaning of spiritual entity? So I will expand on it later. Secondly, coexisting. This is an essential area because we can't exist alone. We are not a solo. Even if you have watched a cowboy movie called Lone Ranger, he also have a partner called Tonto. No? So can you see now? So you cannot be solo. It's not a one-man world we are living in. You are not an island. An island also, if we go deeper, they are all connected below. No? So we are very much connected. We have to coexist. And those areas, when we talk about relationship, it is an essential component which we have to also address. Many people in this modern living find it difficult to coexist because of difference of personality, difference of many things, activities they are doing. Some I like, some I don't like, so I'll get caught up in that. So this is a second thing which the spiritual approach which I'm going to sell to you tonight is that we have to address it. And the third thing is that we have to find meanings in whatever we do. And sometimes when the meaning is not clear to us, then that's where we get bored or we do not know where we are sailing towards. We do not know the directions. And so our compass doesn't seem to be helping us because you yourself do not know where you're moving. But mind you, you are a human being. It is not merely like an animal which is born, find food to eat, produce children. When you come to your time is up, you die. It's not like that. Our journey from the day we got our birth certificate to the day we get death certificate, that journey is there. And we have to be knowing which directions we are going so that it gives meaning in life. When there is meaning in life, that's where a sense of satisfaction will come in, a sense of contentment coming. This area have to be looked into it in details also. So firstly, know yourself as a spiritual entity. You're on a journey, in fact. And secondly, the coexisting with others, surrounding, nature, and so on, human being, animals also. And thirdly is the meanings in life. So all these three things are very, very important components in our well-being. And only spiritual approaches can help us here. Next. Now we go to the first one. Know yourself as a spiritual entity. There are two components which you have to take into account for tonight's sessions: the innate you and the acquired you. Now the innate you is different from the acquired you. The acquired things are the labels which we carry, the educations we carry, the qualification you carry, the position you hold in a company, in a family, your father, in a bigger family circle, you may be a brother, those sort of things. No? In a society, you're somebody, and in your community, you're somebody holding a certain positions. In your clubs, you may be holding a certain positions. All those things are there. Those things are acquired things. And generally what happens that we move from one to another and we feel that we are that. But in reality, you're not that. It's just a role. Can you see now? So this is a difficult part of it, to differentiate between the acquired me and the innate you. The acquired thing seems to be overwhelming for you. Even for retired people, no? If he used to practice as an engineer, let's say, no? So when he retires, he says he's an ex-engineer. He may not be practicing as an engineer, but he still attach himself to that role or that label which he have been used to all this while when a sizable number of working time. So this is an area to look at it, that we as human beings, we as a spiritual entity, we play various roles, but we are not that roles. And what are we then? We are the innate self. Now, what is the innate self? The innate self, if you really were to look into yourself, there are qualities which cuts across everything. There are qualities which is common to everybody. For example, peace. Everybody likes peace. Even a person who is a dacoit or a bandit or somebody who is a beggar on the road, if you ask me what do you want, he wants peace. A rich man, he will say, I want peace. Anybody for that matter, no? Or sometimes our lifestyle is not peaceful, but deep within us, we want peace. Why? Because that is one of your innate quality. Similarly, love. This is a universal thing. Universal thing. Everybody wants love. Everybody have love, but sometimes do not know how to express it or not living those things. So there are many things like that, no? Like mercy, like happiness. No? Those positive qualities is not just for the sake of book knowledge that we have these positive qualities, but these positive qualities are actually you. You are as what you are programmed in the beginning, but over in life we have acquired so many things, and those things are like a fresh file on your table, so they are now ruling you, and so you move around having a false identity, failing to see that you are a spiritual identity with your innate qualities. So this is an important area. You have to understand that you are a spiritual entity with your innate qualities, which are the original qualities. The acquired things are many. Don't fall into the pit of attaching yourself to the acquired things and call it that's what I am. No, there's no such thing that's what I am. Those things are temporary. Anybody working will know that one day you have to retire. So you have to let go. So there are many things in life you have to let go, but hold on to the innate you, the peace, the happiness, the bliss, the mercy. Those things are the things which you have to live, including the values and the spiritual strength which you have. Those are the permanent things which you have to know in details and go further into it and enjoy your life on the basis of that. So that is very important when we're talking about a spiritual entity. Second thing, identify certain messages or certain things which can derail you, or identity derailing messages, so to say. Meaning to say that there are many things can happen in your life which can put you off balance from your right track of living a life in harmony with your innate you. Like, I gave up now because I'm facing quite a big thing. Only I'm facing this situation. Others are okay. I'm not good. Whole range of negative thoughts might come, which also because of the current situation is making me think like that. No, that yeah, no, this is a time. No, where I'm going to go through a bad time. Those sort of things might come, and as you dwell over such thoughts, it pulls your mood down. You become a little not disheartened. You feel a little not so at ease, and this is why you become angry, your relationship affect, and so on. It all starts off with this identity derailing messages. So be on a lookout for it, and you have to quickly shift out of it or come out of it. How do you go about it? Shift to positive affirmations. So this is a skill you have to develop in yourself. Turn it over to see the brighter side of life. Never go into negativity. We always know that positive thoughts are good. Positivity is good in life. And just now, the MC was addressing that I like positive psychology. Basically, it's positive psychology here. You have to, from negative, you have to shift yourself to positivity. Never be pessimistic. Always be optimistic in your life. This is important because the moment you fall into negativity, it saps away all your energy and you feel down. So this is a protection for you. Recognize it, come out of it. Recognize that the identity derailing messages which comes, and I'm sorry to say, these newspapers, the WhatsApp, the TV news, all these are negative things. Every day we look up and see what's the statistic for COVID this today, tomorrow, how many are there in Selangor or in Sarawak type sites. All these things are there, which tells us that we are looking at a negative side of things, no? And accordingly, the fear will come in, and so it might shift you away. So be careful about these things. Okay, so this is how we have to go about protecting ourselves. Next, sister. Now, to add on further, there are, in a matter of 24 hours, and because we spend more time in the house now, and probably working half the workforce in a certain organization, like banks, nowadays they close at 1 o'clock, and their manpower is halved, and they work on shift like that. So you have more time with yourself at home, and sometimes even in workplace. There are such things as high time and low time. High-low management within the 24 hours is essential. What I'm trying to say is that there are times when your spirit is very high, there are times when your spirit is very low. And these things do happen in us, and we have to go through that also. So how to manage this so that my spirits are always high? I'm in a good spirit today. Very simple. You know about it. Have good sleep. Probably about 7 hours, but it varies with people. But let me tell you, quality sleep is very, very essential. So sleep is something that's very essential. In time of trying times like this, don't worry too much, but give priority to have good sleep. So it's good to prepare yourself to have a good night rest, because the following day you can be of better spirit and fresh, you see. Secondly, pay attention to hydrations. Pay attention to nutritional food. Have water with you. Keep sipping water. No? It's good for you. Take good food. There is a tendency to go to junk food or some ordinary food because of the shutdown and so on. No, perhaps this is the time to cook healthy food, fresh food. Go for more vegetables, home cooking. So like that, that will help us. And that also takes our mind away from many things otherwise we will be thinking. So good food is also very, very essential. And on top of that, you should move around. Do some exercise. It is also helps you to come out from whatever you're going through, whatever trying time you're going through. Exercise helps us. Go around, walk with the children, helps us. Take your dog for a walk, fine. And then you also learn some skills to meditate. Why meditation? Because there is no such thing as meditation with negative thoughts. So meditation is a training to give you positive thoughts. So it is a good investment. So we can go for meditations. As for the detailed meditations, we are not covering tonight. Okay, next. Okay, so that's the first part, the spiritual entity. Next is coexisting. One thing is for sure, we are not, as I said just now, an island by itself. No, we have to learn the skill of living together. And you will understand, and in fact, you also know about it. Relationship is very, very essential. It takes away stress, it makes us feel happy, and it also makes us feel that connected. So connect. During this time, which is difficult, but then technology is helping us. This is where technology comes in. WhatsApp is there, no? Email is there, no? You can go online. That helps us to connect. So connecting with people is a way to go about in this trying time, the challenges which we are facing. Talk, don't keep to yourself. That's when you talk, you take it out, see. So you may have some good friends to talk to. You may have some intimate thing to talk to. So this is a time to catch up with all those things, and those things helps, no? So again, since we have more time with ourselves now at home and also in working environment, perhaps you should organize yourself, and should be very appealing. Your house should be clean, it should be well organized, no? We don't pay attention to this thing when our mood is low, but no, keep your things, everything in order. That will help us. This is a discipline of the army people, no? They even have to do up the beds in the morning when they wake up, and they're very disciplined. They're expected to do that. So likewise, we should be a little disciplined to, maybe this is a time to throw away the unwanted things from the house. Go ahead, do it. So see that the house is appealing, your corner is appealing, if your office looks clean and appealing, there are things to throw away, just now is the time to do it. That also helps us to bring up our mood. And of course, no, discipline is important. The daily routine is very important. What I'm trying to tell you here is that laziness is a killer. So, brothers and sisters, ensure that you don't encroach into laziness. So sometimes we take time, since we have more time now, perhaps we worrying now, but then worrying and then sitting down doing nothing, so comes into laziness. And laziness is a killer. It will take away from whatever you want to achieve in your life. So beware of that. So discipline is important. Routine can help us. So time to go to bed, what time to wake up, when to have breakfast, those routine helps us, and it's a protection especially. So this is also important, because when you have discipline, when you have routines, you are also coexisting with others. Now, ask for help. This is another area, no, which over the years, because we are too much into technology, we have failed to see that we can ask for help, and it's okay to ask for help. Our normal feeling is that when we ask for help, people might feel that we are incompetent. But no, research says that no, a very calculative, a very sizably put tangible things you ask in a constructive way, intelligently, and people are willing to help, and they see that you are more mature because you do not know us. If you do not know you ask, you don't waste time. Sometimes we do not know, we keep to ourselves because we wanted to maintain our standard. Well, that doesn't help. So ask for help and give help. Give help. Giving and taking, reciprocity is very, very important. And sometimes when we give, we may not get. Doesn't matter. Continue to give, and what goes around comes around. So this is in our spiritual language we call it as karma, no? So as you perform good karma, then it comes back to you. So that's the way go about living with others, connecting with others, coexisting. That give and take. There's no taking without giving. There's no giving without taking. There's always like that. But the thing is that in between there are such things as asking. Ask, it's okay. No, there are many people out there, they wanted to help. And so by asking, we get many things done. Or if you cannot, then you know where to look for the right person to help. So this sort of helping each others is the healthy way of coexisting. This is also important. The other aspect is, of course, you have to activate your own compassion for people. This is an important area, because when you have compassion for people, then by looking at the situations there, and then you started to decipher those things, and then you come to the situation that if I'm in their shoes, how the situation is going to be, then realizing that, then you started to act. So this compassion is very, very important. There's a huge area of research in this area, which we cannot go in details today, but there are certain universities with compassion labs also, where they practice compassion under positive psychology. But the important thing is that compassionate feeling for one another is a way forward for coexisting. The other aspect is look for specialities. Everybody has specialities, everybody has strength. Change your spikes. Look for the good qualities in others, and you can tap on them. Share with them, tell them their specialities also. They also will tell your specialty, and it's a healthy way to go about. Next, sister. I don't have much time. Okay. The third thing is meanings in life. Purpose. Purpose-driven life is a way forward. You may feel that I don't have a purpose, but actually there is a purpose always. The purpose is I have kids. I want them to grow up and become decent people in the society. So I have to work hard. Well, there's a purpose, no? You have a family, you love your children, you want them to come out. The purpose that I'm interested, maybe by looking at your handphone, you like to put a wall screen of environment, which also indicates that you like to work on environment area to see that the environment is clean. So it creates a sense of purpose in that. So purpose helps us in time of difficulty, in trying time. When you have purpose, it pulls us through. Remember, it is a beautiful world and I'm not over with it as yet. There is still more to be done. So there must be a purpose, and purpose is not something which is written on rock. It can keep on changing and keep changing it. And generally, when time is bad, when time is trying, that's where the purpose shift will come. And generally, they shift towards human. Another aspect which you have to learn is to appreciate everything and see the potentiality it can unfold. If you see a bud, a flower, it will unfold into a flower tomorrow maybe. So it is a potential to unfold it as a tomorrow. See? So there's always be optimistic. But you have to learn to yourself to not to be judgmental, just be a detached observer of what's going on. So that is a skill we have to develop also. Generally, when we observe, you wanted to pass some comments. No, just observe. Learn to be an observant, which is very, very important. And you also have some bad stories from others. So others can tell some of the good things you have done. If you tell the good thing of others to them, they also will be opening up to tell some good stories about you, which you yourself might have forgotten or not aware, but others are looking at it, and they will definitely be able to tell you a lot of things about you. And those good things which they tell you, it definitely improve your mood, and also improve the moods of others who are sharing with you honestly. That's the important area. Now, the magic of gratitude. Gratitude is a big area. A lot of research has been done, and it has a lot to say about a healthy living in our modern time. Next, sister. Okay, I don't have time to go through all the things, but let me tell you, it is a well-researched area. It is not something which is superficially just for the sake of lecture, but gratitude has been researched a lot. Gratitude is good for your health and well-being, and there's research to prove it. Physically, grateful people sleep well, get sick less, have better heart health. Research is there, no? Exercise more, are less bothered by aches and pains. Grateful people. Socially, grateful people are more helpful, compassionate and generous, feel less lonely and isolated, are more forgiving and outgoing. So this is the benefit of being gratitude. No? Grateful people are happier and more optimistic, feel more joy and pleasure, feel more positive emotions, recover from stress faster. And all these are research based. It's not just for talking only, but it's all been documented well. Next, sister. Okay, how are you going to demonstrate gratitude, since gratitude can bring a lot of positive things in your life? Journaling is very important. It's one of the things you can try. Symbols are important. You can try, which can remind you of to appreciate life. Writing letters to yourself, to God, to others, and sharing it will help you. And certainly meditation is a way to explore yourself and feel blessed and feel having gratitude in your life. So out of this, the most practical thing I think is, as the year is ending, look for a good diary and start writing at least 3 or 4 daily. What makes you feel that this is a beautiful life of yours, and feel gratitude about it. Start writing. It will become a habit, and you'll start to shift your thinking to look at a much more optimistic things in your life. Next, sister. Okay. The deep sense of your inner purpose in life, because this is a third point, will provide you with the willpower. Remember the iceberg? The willpower is written in big below. You need to keep going and soon develop the skills and capabilities. Skills and capabilities automatically will come. You definitely look for it to make it happen. And your enthusiasm will certainly inspire others. Okay, next. Now, to sustain your journey, no? To sustain your journey, you need not think big. Drops create oceans. Start small. Small moves counts. In fact, small is big, sometimes it is said. No? So start small. In fact, if you from tonight you have a mindset that I should bring about some newness in my life, and perhaps that itself is a great thing. So start deliberating over it, expanding over it. Try small shift which will help you in the long run. After 1, 2, 3, like that. Remember, you are special. You are the designer of your own life and your surrounding also. You shape others. Think about the second point, coexisting. So when you bloom, others will start to bloom also. So you are an architect or a designer of your surrounding, yourself and your surrounding also, your workplace also. Take up that responsibility. Dark times can call us into becoming beacons of light. Dark time, like the current time. Perhaps this is a time to look at myself, to reevaluate myself and to shift for a better me, to leverage myself a little higher. No? So this is the demand of the time. I would like to share one small story. Perhaps you can visualize it. Time is bad now. During this bad time, many things are happening. If the company is going through a tough time, if the boss come and tell you that, or the whole people, the manpower itself, that time is bad, there are two things to be done. One is to downsize it. That means some of you have to go on optional or early retirements, or pay cut so that we can sustain ourselves. And the boss is so open about it. He gives you facts and figures. He tells what's happening, and then he gives both these options. So let's say some will select the option A to retire early, and some might take the option B. Okay. Now, if I were to tell you to think about this boss and come back, let's say I give you about 3-4 minutes to think about what makes him a good boss. You probably might come back to say that, well, he's a very compassionate person, he's a humble person, he's very honest, he tells what is happening in the company, you know, and he gives us options also. And he's such a nice man that talking about all these things instead of just telling us to go. No? And there are so many things here. Perhaps his life has been like that. Perhaps he is from a company where it helped him to bloom in this way, and he's more human-centered person. It looks like. You'll start to think like that, and probably you might share those things to me also to say that the boss must be this kind of person. For tonight, this is what I'm trying to tell you. That kind of boss is you, which is human-based. No? That human beings are more important than technology or money for that matter. No? So such companies can strive higher, such company can bloom further, and likewise, if you have such thinking, that you are more human-centered, and that is a spiritual approach in this trying time. The question is, are you ready? Next, sister. Okay, so I have come to the end of the session. My time is almost up. So I'm going to reflect back what we have learned so far and what you can ponder over for a while. No? Okay, sit in silence, relax, think about it. We started to talk about the challenging times which we are facing now. It's quite a bit with the COVID around. We have various approaches in life, but apparently it looks like a spiritual approach is a better approach. These slides I'll come to it later, sister. This is just to wrap up the talk itself, so I don't need these slides actually. The spiritual approaches, basically I'm going to look into 3 areas. Understand that I'm a spiritual entity with a human experience and not the other way around. I understand that I'm not an island and standing alone. I have to learn to coexist with others, sharing, caring, appreciating life. Those are very essential in my life for coexisting. And I also understand that there should be a clearly defined path to follow. a sense of purpose, a sense of meaning in life, so that my compass is set correctly, so that I can reach the destination, so that at the end of the day, I can be happy and contented that I have done the right thing in life. And I also understand that I have to sustain my journey, and I need not start big. One small step is the beginning of 1,000 steps. So one small step and the journey begins. So I'm not talking about big things, but small shift, and that can create the ocean. And as I move along, I will become a better person. I would be able to cope better in these trying times, and perhaps I can be a pillar of support to others too. But it all begins with me. Thank you. Okay, so this is the body of the talk itself, and I appreciate. And over to the MC itself now.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Peru. I really like this talk. It touches my heart, and I'm sure it also touches your heart. From this talk itself, even though our guest speaker just summarized within just this 30 minutes, and all the essence is show us and bring the hope to all of us at this challenging time. Of course, there are a few practical points that I pick up from this talk also, and which I know I can put it into practice during this time, even before end of the year of 2020. I like the way how our guest speaker, Mr. Peru, end his talk by giving us a few minutes of so-called recap, the valuable point. That is what is really needed now for all of us, including myself. And this is really a powerful injection for me. I'm sure it's also same for you. Now we move on to the next session. That is the highlight for this evening. I would like to welcome our moderator, Ms. Amanda Lee. And I also would like to request our speaker just stay on, continue to join with us this session. So over to you, Amanda. Thank you.
Thank you to Ms. Cindy Lim, our MC for today. Good evening to all the participants. Thank you, Mr. Peru, for your inspiring sharing on spiritual practice. I felt the method shared was very practical. We can apply them in our daily life, anytime, anywhere. Since Ms. Cindy already wrapped up some, but I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Peru, that's for this spiritual approach, this means is focus into myself and my conscious, and then build the outer world based on my feeling, my value, my belief, and create the willpower. Is that right? Or is adding something that they can be added to create a more peaceful life?
Thank you, Ms. Amanda. I understand your questions. Yeah, there's a lot more to be covered in this area, but the time is given is we cannot go in detail of it. But let me tell you that there's a whole range of exploration had we done within. No? And as you started to lift that, that will colors on the external side. Think about the iceberg, the willpower from inside, the strength from inside. If you do a proper housekeeping, so to say, well managed internally, which is a 90% of you, then the 10% will be functioning automatically by itself. So it's worth it to spend some time in that. The real way to probe deeper into this is through meditations, because this is something to do inside you. So you need that silence, you need the space, and you need that knowledge to really probe deeper inside you. But it's worth it because that's a foundation. So when the foundation is strong, the building outside will definitely be strong. If the foundation is not strong, then of course the building, no matter how beautiful it may look, it may crumble one day. So the focus now is on the 90% which is inside you, and those part is your thoughts, your reasoning power, your own internal makeup of yourself itself. So if it is done properly, then with confidence you can have the willpower to really face life. So that's where I can in essence put it. Hope it answers your questions.
Yeah, there is a best explain that easy to understand. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Peru. So as we are all aware, we are in December, the last month of the year. Therefore, our program this evening is the last online series program. This year has been a very challenging year for all of us as we begin to adopt to the new norm of life. Mr. Peru, just tonight we are very honored to have Mr. Peru to guide us to do a New Year resolution to bring about a new me in the new year. We may get ready with a pen and paper for the session. Before we adjourn further, we would like you to watch a short video entitled Message of Hope, brought by Persatuan Brahma Kumaris Malaysia Kuching branch. Let's enjoy. Hope you enjoy the video. Without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Peru for the New Year resolution session.
Thank you, Ms. Amanda. So we are moving on to the next sessions, and of course we don't have much time in this also, but we'll do our best. So get ready with your paper and a pencil or pen, fine. So we are going to spend some time reflecting over certain aspects which will help us to really prepare for next year. First we'll take stock for this year and then project for next year. Next, sister. Okay. In these reflections, which is because you need to spend some time with yourself, you have to train yourself to detach yourself and observe yourself as a third person without judging. It's as though you come out from your body, sitting in front of you, and you are looking at yourself. It's a skill we have to develop. Unconditionally looking at yourself, not with any biased approach. Just detach yourself from you, your role, everything, and as though you come out from your body and looking at yourself as a detached observer. Okay, so that's one of the things we have to do. Secondly, you have to review your last year, and we'll go to the detail of it afterwards. You're going to review the 12 months which you have go through, because now we are in the December, and there will be a lot of learning along the way. A few of them you're going to capture, which is more profound in us, the good thing, and perhaps the not so good things also. But what's the learning from that? That's very essential. We'll go over that also. And third thing you have to take note is that, remember, you are the actors, not the role. Sometimes we are a little bit of get carried away by the roles we play, and perhaps we are not able to judge or see the situation as it is, as a detached observer. This is why I use the word detached observer. Don't go to the acquired things and then that spoils the original you. Just be natural, just be yourself. You are an actor playing a role. It's not a role playing an actor's role. No, no, an actor playing roles and various roles you are playing. So just put aside the roles and just be yourself. Now see how your relationship were created by your actions. Of course, we all are living, we perform actions, and the effect of it, the word relationship is used, but the effect of your actions is also important to pay attention to, because that will help us to see meaning in that and how I respond and how I feel about it. And that's also very essential to capture. We'll go to details of it afterwards. You have strengths. You can choose to use anytime. So this is the whole idea, to see that you know your strength. You may have certain shortcoming also, no doubt about it. We are human beings, which you perhaps by recognizing the shortcoming, we can plan to let go next year. Okay, so think about the advice to yourself. I can do that. Can be done, but you have to take stock. Then only you know where you stand. Okay, so these are the some guidelines to go about with your reflections. Next slide, sister. Okay, what are you going to do? This is it. This is a table given to you for the last 12 months, including this month, December also, year 2020, from January to December, assuming today is 31st December. Okay, fine. Now there are high points and there are low points. The high points, there are some learnings. And when there's low points, there are also some learning. Definitely there will be learning. Life is learning, a lifelong learning. No? I give a typical example. I finished a very complex report. That's a high point, no? Then you realize that the main learning is that patience is needed to finish such a complex report. Determination is needed to finish such a report. Are greatly helpful. Okay, so this is what I've written. You might even think about cooperation is needed also. Fine, but capture that. Capturing things by writing is very, very essential, because then only we know that we have understood. I give you another example. I resolve a conflict with a person who is important to me. Important people to me, it may be a boss, but sometimes we step on their feet also. So there's a conflict were to come, then you manage to resolve it. That's a high point, no? She has more virtues than defects. That's your finding. Because as you come into conflict also, you are communicating anyway, no? So coming into a relationship, you tend to explore her, to know her better. Then you'll find out her good side also. So you capture that. Now the low point, some example. I have a huge argument with my son. A typical example I'm giving. It's a low point, argument, you see. But even in that, there is some learning. Harmony at home is very important for me. What is life, no? After working, going back, there is no peace. So you realize that. That's a big learning, no? Or you lose your wallet with a credit card, everything. That's a low point, no? So you learn from that next time I have to be more cautious, no? I need to be more careful. So in life, the learning here is that if you are successful, if you are not so successful, in both situations, life comes to teach you a lesson and you have something to learn. So, but the most important thing in capturing in this table is that telling the truth to yourself is a great relief. The best thing is truth, and it's a first step towards creating a better you. So you have to be truthful in writing, and that shows your honesty, and that is a good platform to plan properly for next year. Okay, so think about it. Take about 2-3 minutes to digest this and start writing. Okay, can it be done? Can be done. So start writing. I will help you through. I'll just say some words which will help you. Sit comfortably, relaxed. Gradually, let your awareness become one of a detached observer. Imagine that you are sitting in the last row of a theater And you're seeing your life being acted out on the stage. You can see the year 2020 with all its ups and downs pass before you. You remember the lessons that you have learned. You remember that you are the actor and not the roles. That you are a spiritual being having a human experience and not just a human being looking for a spiritual experience. In this state, you see how your relationships are formed around you because of the way you act. You realize that you do have specific strengths within you that can be brought into play whenever you choose. And perhaps there are some shortcomings too, which have to be dealt with. You remember the advice that you have given to yourself and feel that yes, it is possible to proceed in that way. So write 1 or 2 points on the high side and 1 or 2 points on the low side. Take your time. Think about it. Okay. If you have written, well and good. If you have not or halfway through, it's fine. It is a process and you can carry on also, later also, after these sessions. Let's move on to the other slides. The possible triggers which can help you on both sides, the high side and low side, is what community activities I do. How is my timetable, my routines? How do I assess myself? What is the most important for me? What are the biggest challenges? How is my relationship with God? How do I relate with others? Identify your main strength. So that's on the high side. On the low side, perhaps you like to think about procrastinations, which is a big killer in going about achieving your things. Laziness. What about carelessness? Disheartenment, doubts, or perhaps as a sheer ego or arrogance or attachment to my role, my identity. So these are some things which for you to play about. And I know you need more time to think about it to come into a concrete understanding of how your 12 months have been, but some triggers have been given to you here. Right? Let's move on to the next sessions. I hope you can snap your photo of the slides here, which can help you in your process later on. My strength and my weaknesses. There are 2 points here we can start. You can write later. What are my main strengths or qualities? This is a soul searching which we have to do on the basis of the 12 months which we have gone through. What are my undesired habits that perhaps should let go? So there is something to acquire, there's something to let go also for next year, no? So these 12 months should be able to be like a database to tell me that what I can be doing. It's not just merely wishing, but on the basis of my looking at my life itself for the last 12 months. So take a photo of this also. Next. Okay. I hope you can snap this also. My advice to myself for year 2021, next year. No? Now looking at your answers, the answers from the table just now, the high side and the low side, ask yourself in a reflective way. This involves a little bit of silence, some space, some soft music perhaps, and quiet when nobody is disturbing you. Ponder over your points, your life for this 12 months. Why do I live my life the way that I do? Why do I live my life the way that I do? What is pulling me? What is making me stuck? What is really putting me there? This is my life is all about, like that. Think about it. Can I live it in a better way? Another challenge to you. Can I live it in a better way? Only you can answer it. Based on this, I'm stuck here, I'm living a life, but I think I can live a better life. Only you should analyze your life like that. And on the basis of these two questions, to live my life better in year 2021, that's next year, what are the three main pieces of advice? Remember, you are a detached observer, no? Looking at yourself. Now you are a detached observer, yourself is going to advise yourself. Three main pieces of advice I can give to myself. Look at my past 12 months, that is year 2020. Use the verb in the imperative, I must. There are three examples here. This is our examples, but you can have your own. I must have more faith in myself. Perhaps for the year 2021, I should work on building up confidence on myself. I must have more faith in myself. This is a very important sentence for me to pave a way for next year, like that. Or I must learn to smile more. Perhaps I'm too serious with my life. Perhaps I have to be a lighter person. But this sentence is a trigger for the whole process of acquiring new things for next year. How to smile, how to be light to smile. It's a whole journey of exploration on that area, to be light. I must see only the virtues of others and not the defects. Seeing defects in others is a norm nowadays. We always have a comment to say about others. Now I'm going to shift that. I'm going to go around shopping for the right things. It's just like supermarket, you go and do shopping for whatever you want, you see. So for next year, for the next 12 months, I'm going to go shopping for specialities, virtues, good qualities in others, because if I look at those things and shop for those things, I become a richer person. If I look at the defect of others, perhaps I have more of the defects. I acquire those defects. Why am I going to take other people's defects? By dwelling over it, by thinking about it, by talking about it. Let's shift it over. Now, everybody has some specialties, some good stuff. Let me look for that and go picking for those things only, like that. So these are the kind of shift we are expecting you to do for next year. Of course, these are examples, but on the basis of your 12 months, you should be able to gauge out that let me go in these directions, like that. Okay, so these are examples for you. Okay, so I hope this will help you through on your journey onwards. Okay, next slide. Thank you. Om Shanti. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Back to you, Miss Amanda.
Thank you, Mr. Peru, for the meaningful session. I hope you benefit from the session. So the main thing is, remember, you are what you think. So very careful with your thoughts. Yeah, because that is how you create your life. So there's some tips that I want to give on how to create resolutions. You may think of your hope, your dreams, aim, or purpose, and see what you would like to accomplish within next 6 months. It can be vary from being simple or to challenging, but it has to be achievable. So if you think is you don't create so big for yourself because it might like to take 100 steps to achieve, you may change it a little bit easier for yourself for as a starter. Yeah, so you may create your own unique design, just follow your heart. So I would like to share my resolution just for your sample. So this is my word. That's like what to let go is like the exhaust gas, right? Already go into the air. So just let it go. Yeah, so then this is what I want to achieve for next year. So it's a gift. So a gift that you can give to yourself. So what's the gift that you want to give yourself so you can create it? So create your future. That is we means. So
Very interesting.
remember what happened yesterday is good. What happening now is better. And what shall happen tomorrow will be better. Now, I would like to pass the floor back to the MC. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda and Mr. Peru. I really enjoyed the session. It's light and easy. And it really helped us to receive this special gift, even though with this short period of time, I would say just within 10 or 15 minutes or less than 50 minutes. So the COVID-19 really have a positive impact to all us, including myself. This gives me the opportunity not only upskill myself, like our guest speaker say, upskill and you can acquire it. And Amanda have shown us a simple way just to let go what I don't want to keep it with me anymore. So I really have to say that this bring me to the new beginning of my life. I'm sure it will give you the same direction. So what I take back home with me from this evening session is that I want to make a firm and determined thought. Like Mr. Peru have said, shift. I just take one step and shift and make use of the time that I have now before end of the year. And counting from today, we know that we only have 15 days. We will reach the 31st December 2020. With these 15 days, what I would like to encourage all of you is make use of the time. If you like to explore further this journey, contact our nearest center, wherever you are now, whether you are in Kuching or West Malaysia is just contact us. May it be just take up the further step that you would like to know from Mr. Peru just now. Would like to go deeper and make a shift for yourself. So the courses, it could be mind management, or the spiritual management, how to manage yourself, or it could be just a basic 7 days, we so-called the meditation courses. So take this opportunity, really give yourself a chance, because when you love yourself, you give yourself a chance. And this is where all the help, all the courses, all the facility are available online. So thank you to all of you. First of all, okay, Mr. Peru have said,
Brother, can read or not?
take lesson, relax. Yes, we have a relaxation for the next year. Yep. Okay.
Is it okay like that?
Yes.
Take lesson learn to next year, not the mistakes. Take lesson learn to next year, not the mistakes. Welcome 2021.
Yes, that's good. All right. To express our thanks for your love and support to our series of talks since September 2020 until now. This is the special gift that we would like to give to all of you. We know that all our program will end with sweetness. So this is the word of wisdom that God give it to us. And this is exactly what God see us, your true self, your potential. So I will read a few of the words. Be optimistic. You have the wisdom because you have the understanding. And you can accepting every situation. You have the calmness because of the silence of the mind. And the most important thing is you have the courage and the confidence to give yourself a new life. With the determination, you become free from any distraction. And you are far-sighted. That is where you have all the unlimited opportunity for yourself. So with this wisdom, acceptance, calmness that you have, courage, never give up, and confidence. When you know the way, you have the confidence, and with the determination, really give you the unlimited opportunity. So all of you will receive this word of wisdom after the end of this program. So we come to end of this session already. Of course, I wish I can have a longer time. I'm sure our organizer would like to have the time with all of you. Lovely to have all of you with us. You are just like fancy for all of us attend the program without fail. So I would like to end the session with the words of thanks together with our speaker and our moderator, and also not forgetting all our technical team and the design team for helping us, of course, with your presence for tonight to make this session a successful one. I would like to wish all of you successful, happy, and see hope in yourself and also bring hope to others. Thank you so much. Of course, that is also our wish before come to end of the session. There is a song will be played for you. It's so-called My Wish for You. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy. Important is happy. Happy whatever you have now. Happy the moment that you are now. All right? All right. Over to the, just enjoy, listen to the song. Okay?
This is my wish for you. I wish the sky would always stay blue. Sun would always shine. I wish the storms would never, ever come. I wish there was more of peace and more of happiness. I wish there was dreams come true. May your every wish be fulfilled. We want to make a better world, and you and I can make it happen. Let's start within ourselves. It's time to change from deep within. Let's make that change. For just a minute, that's how it starts. Let's make the time. I wish there were no more wars. I wish there was no more poverty. I wish there was no more fear. I wish there was no more violence. I wish there